have the drag link out of the way, and I believe the next thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and get the Steer Smarts track bar bracket on. So I'm going to take these 18mm bolts, I'm going to take them out and then put the bracket on. Alright, so I'm going to come in here with an 18mm socket. And the steering box will come down just a little bit. So the front two will have the longer ones. I have to reach up and push on that. There we go. So then you'll take the Steer Smarts bracket and just kind of go ahead and line it up as close as you can. Ooh, yeah, just like that. So I'm going to take the track bar bolt, the new track bar bolt that comes with the kit, and I'm going to send that through just to kind of hold it on for right now. And now I'm going to take one of these longer bolts and I'm going to reach up behind the frame here and push up on the power steering box. I'm not putting any Loctite on this yet just because I'm trying to find the hole. But kind of push that in there and go ahead and get that started. Just like that. Just kind of let that chill. And now I'm going to get one on the back, no Loctite just yet. Go ahead and get that one started. Just like that. So now I'm going to get the other two bolts and get Loctite on those, send those in, take these back out, put Loctite on those, and then I'm not going to torque them down just yet, but, and I'll show you why here in a second. I took a 42mm inch socket and took off the factory pitman arm nut, and I'm going to be replacing it with a washer and a new 42mm nut. And the washer goes on first, and I'm going to be putting some Loctite on this. Whoops, that's a lot. I feel bad for whoever has to take this back off. It'll probably be me. Hopefully I'll never have to do it. But go ahead and get that on pretty good. And you want to put this down to 3 ugga-duggas. 1, 2, 3. Alright. So, got that properly torqued down. And I'm going to take some anti-seize and smear all over that new shaft right here. So, a little better visual for you. And go ahead and put a decent amount of anti-seize on here. All the way around. All right. So the next thing is I'm going to take this new sector shaft brace, and then I'm going to get some anti-seize on the inside of it. I'm going to push up on it. Get a little pop, pop. And so the threads, you probably can't see it, but now these holes are lined up with this sector shaft. So I'm going to take these new bolts and send those right on in with some Loctite. How perfect did that go on? And it also has one on the back side as well. Alright, and now I'll get the clip on, and then we'll get the track bar in. So I have everything torqued down, the clip on. I'm not going to put the track bar in just yet because I have to get the coil springs in first. So I may go ahead and get the coil springs in and then get the steering on. Oh man, I have a lot to do. I'm going to be putting these Mopar 2-inch springs with these right there, these on top. So you can see the indentions right there. Just make sure all the little teeth are lined up. Just like that. Easy, girl. Alright, so making sure the orientation, I'm making sure the orientation is the way I want it. Alright, there we go. Now I'll get the passenger side on. So I have the isolators and the new spacers oriented the way they're supposed to be. I have the spring seated. I brought up the axle a little bit, that way I can kind of control exactly where the springs are going to land and everything. So now I'm going to get the track bar on. The track bar that I'm going with is a Clayton adjustable. It's for like 0 to 5 inch or something like that. So I'm going to get that top one in first, and then get this over here. So it's not adjusted correctly. So what I'm going to do is just take a ratchet strap and just pull it over just enough to get the bolts started. It'll go in like so. And I'm not going to tighten it down just yet because I don't know if the axle is going to be centered. So I have a pretty good idea. I went to the Clayton website and got some measurements off of there, but of course this isn't a Clayton kit, so it's just kind of a rough estimate. So what I'll probably do now is go ahead and get the drag link on right here. So then I'll pull the knuckle around, kind of go up into there. All right. So whenever I get this back on ride height, what I'll do is I'll look at the steering wheel and look at the orientation of the wheels, and then I can just simply drop one of these ends right here and just adjust it until I get it just right. But this will at least get us in the ballpark of where we need to be. So I got the tie rod measured out, and I'm going to try to get it on. Since I already have this steering arm on right here, I'm going to start with this one because it's going to be easier to adjust the one without anything on it. So I'm going to push this up. Get a couple of threads started on it. And make sure that you put the clamps for the bolts towards the back. I'm going to turn this just a little bit. Send that up. Get a couple of turns on that. Oh yeah. Oh, it's really good. So now I'm going to take the steering stabilizer bracket off. I probably should have done that before, but I don't read instructions. So I'm going to be using this instead of the factory track bar bolt, but it threads right into it. So I'll be pushing that in just like that. And hopefully this is deep enough. Yeah. So I'm not going to be tightening this down just yet because I want to torque this down when it's on its own weight. But this is how the steering stabilizer will go on. It'll go on just like that. And then this will actually turn and clamp onto the tie rod. That's really cool. So I'm going to take it off for right now, but I just kind of wanted to show you. So honestly, I'm pretty much to the point where I need to put the tires and wheels on to go over everything and get my steering straight. And go ahead and torque everything down and check my tie rod. So like my drag link here, like that has to be adjusted out just like this, and then this has to be adjusted out just like that, so that you see how it's kind of falling back. But once I tighten that down, it'll stay. But I can't really do anything yet torquing wise until I get the tires and wheels on. And of course my wheels haven't come in yet, so I'll probably put the Rubicon takeoffs back on and just see where we're at ride height wise. So check this out. One of my buddies had this on his old Toyota truck, and it's like an all-pro carrier. This is actually the one that was on my Comanche many years ago, and come to find out it's the same bed length and width as the Gladiator. So this thing's been on like a bunch of different vehicles in the past couple of years. I don't know, I don't think it looks that bad with it being painted silver. That's going to be matching the bumper and the other accessories that we're going to be putting on. What do y'all think? I think the rooftop tent would be kind of cool on that. So with the Jeep sitting now on its own weight, I did go and torque some stuff down. I'm not really happy with my caster angle on the axle, so I'm probably going to have to get some uppers just to correct that. Right now I'm at a 0.5 degree caster angle, which is not ideal. I want this Jeep to ride really good, and so I'm going to have to get some parts ordered for that. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with the ride height, and I think once I get the tent on the back, I'll probably have to put in some spacers in the rear, but as of right now, it's pretty level. I'm pretty happy with it. But while it's sitting on the ground and I'm waiting for some parts to come in, I'm going to go ahead and get this anti-rock sway bar on the front. And also, I forgot to mention, I did put the Mopar 2-inch lift Fox shocks back on. They were actually a lot longer than the Rubicon shocks. I didn't know that. I don't know a whole lot about the shock lengths that come on the vehicles and stuff like that for these, but the 2-inch Mopar lift shocks worked out just fine. I actually have plenty of, droop and, plenty of up travel, of course, with those. I'll probably end up getting some different ones later on down the road whenever I get a full suspension kit, but for right now, these would do just fine. So I'm going to take this bracket that I got used from Facebook Marketplace, and I have the protruding side or the bushing side facing outwards. And there's one on the back side right here. So now I'm going to do the same thing to the passenger side. Before I put the rod or the actual sway bar, I'm just going to go ahead and grease this up really good. It looks like this thing has been kind of starved for grease in the past, and so I want to make sure that it's not going to be that way now. I may have to order a new bushing eventually, but for what I paid for it, I can replace this bushing, no problem. And I'm also going to be putting grease on the shaft itself, and I'm going to make sure I get in the splines and everything. These anti-rocks love grease. So I'm going to do this on the passenger side also, and then we'll be ready to put her in. Sliding this in. So I'm going to be sliding this in from the driver's side. Grab a mallet. I'm just going to try to get it as even as possible on both sides. Looks even to me. So you can see right there where this all goes on. Got the washer, the nut, the arm, and now I've just got to put it through the sway bar mount and then do the same thing on the passenger side. Cool, got everything tightened up, and honestly I don't think that orange powder coating looks terrible. So now that the anti-rock is on, I'm going to get this Falcon steering stabilizer on. And what I did was I just centered it up. And what I mean by that is the distance between this end and this end is the same between this end and this end. and it'll be going on the new track bar bolt. That's what will be going on, and then this end right here will be bolting on the tie rod. So I'll go ahead and get those on. Okay, so I'm going to slide this in over that shaft. That's going to magically land right about there, which is where I want it. And then I'll get the nut on the track bar here. And I would like to point out, since the Jeep is on its own weight, I don't know if I mentioned, but I have torqued down this end on the track bar, so it's good to go. I've torqued it down properly. And now I'm going to torque this down properly. Perfect. So I've got the clamshell mount started right here. I would typically suggest putting Loctite on these, but I'm not going to right now because I haven't gone and gotten alignment yet. So whenever I get an alignment, they're probably going to have to do some adjustments with this tie rod, and I don't want them to have to fight with the Loctite that I put on there, so I'm just going to Loctite it as soon as I get home from the alignment shop. So I'm going to be torquing these down to, I think it's 15. So it is a new night in the shop, and holy crap, the wheels and tires finally came in. So these are a 17-inch RockTrix wheel, and then I have a 37 by 1250 Kenda Kevlar MT. Man, these look really good. I am super excited about how this build is turning out.
I like it a lot.
So the RockTrix wheels and the Kenda tires look really good together. What do y'all think? So these are the machined wheels, and they are a simulated beadlock. But what I like about them is they have the gunmetal gray, just like kind of my accents, like the bumper and stuff like that. It's got it in the wheel. Bag looks pretty good. And they stick out like the perfect amount. I really like that tread pattern. But I am really digging how this build is coming out. This is like the absolute perfect shop truck. And I'm very pleased with it. I already am getting together some trips that I want to take with the Gladiator here. My little boy wants to go to Tennessee with it, so I'll probably go into Tennessee, probably doing some URI trips and stuff like that. But man, I really dig this truck. There's a lot more that I need to do to it before it's ready for a road trip or anything like that, or especially an off-roading trip. I have a lot of stuff planned for this. I do want to re-gear it. I do want to do some protection on the sides. That way I don't bash in any of that nice sheet metal there at the bottom. I do want to do some sort of locker of some sort. And then of course, I'll be doing that with the gears and everything like that. I'll probably go in with a 513 for right now. I think 513s in this truck, since it's being, since it's a 6-speed and it's not really a dedicated rock crawler, I feel like 513s will be a perfect middle range. That way I still have, 6th gear. So I really want to put a complete suspension system on this Jeep. Right now I've just kind of got like the spacers, which is not ideal. I really want to just get a spring really looking at some long arms or something. I really want this Jeep to drive really good on the road and perform really good off-road. Because right now, I think because I have the spacers on top of those springs, the springs aren't really happy and it's kind of bowing them out a little bit, which is not cool, but it'll work for right now. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I really appreciate you watching me build this new Gladiator shop truck. I have, like I said before, I have a lot of stuff that I want to do to this build, and I'll be doing it all on the channel here. So definitely make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. That way you don't miss out on any of the content for the Gladiator shop build. But anyway, I really appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you next time, everybody.